What's up, everybody? It's your boy BLG here. Welcome to my new show called Provoking Racists to Prove a Point. First thing we're going to be talking about on today's episode is a segment we did on Unknown Society podcast where we talked about Druski and his whiteface debacle. Now, I'm not going to be covering the whole thing. I'm just simply going to be covering the comments that we've been getting on our TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube channel. Because we pissed some people off with this one. But first things first, let's take a look at the clip real quick. This is why I be talking so much about like white supremacy and shit. Notice how they recognize that it's offensive, right? Mm-hmm. But every time somebody does blackface, oh, you guys are over.
It's all jokes, guys.
Wait, you talking about that?
Yeah. Notice how they recognize that it is offensive. Yes, what a legend. Even though Druski's problematic, I do like his skits.
Yeah, when he goes in on the skit, he goes all in.
He does. And you know what? Like I said, this is why it's never just a joke. Y'all niggas know that. Yeah. And this is the problem I have with this type of shit, because motherfuckers will tell you till you're blue in their face that somebody doing blackface was just a joke and it's not meant to be offensive and get over it. But the second a nigga do it, all of a sudden,
it's cool when they
there. All of a sudden, now you notice how they try to lay the groundwork to have a permission structure to just be blatantly racist. Notice how the response wasn't just, oh, this is bad. It was also, well, I guess we could do blackface now. Notice how they try to lay this groundwork for a permission structure to just be the way they are, which is racist. And I don't understand. This is a problem in America where we've erased so much of our history that niggas don't actually know what racism is. And then when they see it, they try to just turn a blind eye and say it doesn't exist or it's not here. And it's like, this is why I get so frustrated, because trying to explain this to a white person is like fucking running into a brick wall, because white people cannot see it because they're shielded from it. Damn. That one was a doozy. I know that one hurt y'all. I can hear him now. Russian. Tapping their little morbid, crinkly ass fingers. I understand racism so much to the point where even in the video, I predicted how people would respond to our clip. In that clip, I'm literally talking about how black people are constantly discredited and denied acknowledgement of something being racist, or how they are being treated due to a racist system that we all live in. And still, I got niggas in my comment section talking about racism doesn't exist, guys. I guess the irony was lost on them when they wrote that comment. They really thought they ate with that. Hold up. I had to put the bun up real quick, get in my mode. After a black person specifically describes how whiteness is shielded from actually acknowledging how racism actually works, and I explain how racism actually works in that conversation, and if you as a white person thought to yourself, well, I don't think that, and then you go on to tell me that you don't think that that's how that works, isn't that kind of proving my point? See, the mere fact that we even have races proves that racism exists. Race is not tied to biology other than melanin, other than how much sunlight niggas be getting. That's literally it. That's all it is. It's not tied to biology in any meaningful scientific way that we would think something being tied to biology is. It don't make you smarter, it don't make you faster, it don't make you stronger. You are literally anatomically the same as everyone else. So race in of itself is a social construct, but it's a social construct that is defined by external factors and not defined by internal ones. So I don't just decide that I'm gonna be a white person for the day, even though I probably could pass. The reality of the matter is that nobody would look at me as a white person despite my milky as light skin complexion. And nobody would look at me. The automatic default I would be othered, right? Because whiteness is determined by its proximity to blackness. I've said this so many times on the channel, but y'all niggas ain't listening, so I'm gonna say it again. Whiteness is determined by its proximity to blackness. How is blackness defined? Blackness is defined by culture, appearance, and a plethora of other things, but those are all external factors. We didn't place that label on ourselves. That label was given to us. And those things were then shaped by our oppression. our culture, our style, the way we talk to each other, all those things were shaped by external factors, which is why there's a big difference between a Black American and somebody from Africa. There's definitely overlap, but they're not the same thing. We're culturally different. Despite sharing the same ancestry and the history and coming from the same place, we're wildly culturally different from our African brother and sisters. Now, despite being different, we are still placed with the label of being Black, because white supremacy is global. It's not just confined to America. If you notice, I put the bun down. It's because I got insecure about my receding hairline. I'm almost 30, nigga. Leave me alone. But to wrap up this point, yes, we do live in a racialized society. Racism absolutely does exist. The fact that we have races is proof enough that we have socially constructed this thing to differentiate ourselves from one another, for good or for worse. It wasn't for good, it was for bad. It was, because the slaves. Moving on. I put it back up. Y'all see what I'm working with. Gotta lift myself up. Now, the whole racism isn't real wasn't the only comments we got, and actually most of these are actually gone now because we can't just have racist shit in our community. I guess somebody also was called the N-word in one of our comments. Yeah, racism isn't real, guys. We got a couple of false maps too. We got a couple of Black people are low IQ in there, the whole shebang. I ain't even gonna entertain that shit. That shit's been tried and tested. Y'all are lame. So I wanted to start off with this one comment. The difference is motivation. When he was wearing whiteface to mock an entire race of people or just a single individual. Also, he's trying to look white in a realistic way. Blackface is done with shoe polish. It's meant to mock and belittle an entire race, and it was done so frequently and was so popular that they had to name an entire genre, the minstrel shows. That's the difference. One was done to mock a person and their behavior, and the other one was done out of hatred for an entire group of people. I gotta say, hey, shout out to this commenter, W. Tate. He's absolutely right. There is a big difference between whiteface and blackface. Whiteface that Druski did in that video was mainly more satire on, white political sensibilities versus an entire group of people. And there's also not the power structure because Black people wouldn't even benefit from it, even if they did do that, right? Even if they did make fun of an entire race of people, I don't think the world would give us any leeway with that if we did. Which is, the power structure that I'm talking about. Racism does particularly speak on a power structure. Since we can't benefit from it, it's not racist. That's as simple as it is. I know it sounds crazy, but that's the truth, right? There's no infrastructure for Black people to benefit from being racist towards white people, but there certainly is infrastructure for white people to benefit being racist towards Black people. Otherwise, it's just prejudice. It's not racism. There is a difference, and that is kind of a semantics argument, but I am happy to see that there are people out there in the world that aren't brainwashed, and some people actually have some reason to them. Now, to close up the video, I just wanted to read out my favorite comment that we got in so far. I think he eloquently speaks. Shout out to our white allies. This person commented, "This was a pretty good commentary. Honestly, I found the skit funny. I also understand the power structure involved that differentiates the use of whiteface and blackface. That makes the permission structure a false dichotomy of, oh, you did whiteface, we'll do blackface. I wish more people were able to realize the continued racial tensions that continue to play the background of society and sometimes the foreground, but under the permission structure of saying, I'm not racist, but..." Random white guy, by the way. Love the video. Keep up your commentary. Gotta say, shout out to this guy. He got it right on the nose. There is this power structure. There is this permission structure that allows white people to be racist and to get away with it, which is why, what I'm saying, when Druski does it, all of a sudden, all these white people are mad and they're talking about, oh, let's do blackface. And it's also why the response is, instead of just being like, that's in bad taste, the response is, let's do blackface. But yeah, shout out to you, bro. I really appreciate it. We love our white allies. Despite what it may seem, we do love our white allies. We love all our allies. So make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. And if you guys watched this long, I want to personally say thank you so much for listening to me yap about this shit, because it really is an important topic, and I think it's important that we should be able to talk about it. But if we are going to talk about it, let's focus on, facts. Let's focus on things that logically make sense. Anyways, my name is BLG, and I'll see you guys later.
Heard you say